Yo, what's going on, yo? I want to thank you if you're tuning in. I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. We're back here. Again, I want to thank you if you've been tuning in the last hour. You can check me out on ronpaulradio.com. Just click on Listen Live, and the chat room should pop up. Also, you can check me out over at ronpaultribune.com. Just click on the voice chat room, and that should pop up right away. Shout out to everyone over there. Okay, today is, what's going on? It's Tuesday, the 29th. Don't forget to vote today in Texas. And we were talking about that the last hour. Today is the Texas primary. And today is the day that the media is going to try and go ahead and label Romney the official nominee. They already got articles out for it. You guys be waiting for it. Get ready for it tonight when it hits all the mainstream headlines. Let's see here. This is at Washington Post. Mitt Romney, what is it? Mitt Romney to officially clinch GOP nomination on Tuesday, which is today. That's at the Washington Post. Okay, so we had some headlines from last hour, a clip about Ron Paul talking about voting. So we're going to jump into some more headlines this hour. Let's see, what do we have going on here? No photo, no problem. NATO to ban its Afghan forces from taking war zone pics. So NATO forces in southwestern Afghanistan will implement a total ban on soldiers taking personal photos during military operations. This comes in the wake of major scandals involving U.S. servicemen being pictured with dead Taliban fighters. The ISAF command in Helmand province announced only official photos will be allowed to be taken. The restriction is going to affect 36,000 troops, including 15,800 U.S. Marines. A vast array of amateur photographs and videos filmed by soldiers will now be cut out of the picture. In particular, the ISAF hopes to do away with those embarrassing incidents portraying Marines urinating on the bodies of prostate enemies, or video clips showing how the U.S. soldiers conduct themselves in a real skirmish. So never mind what they did, we just want to get rid of the video that exposes them. You see, this is what our government does with every area in politics. We're not going to fix the root of the problem. We're going to address the symptom. You know, the video is the symptom, okay? It's not the video's fault that there's people where there's videos being out there, people being tortured, people being peed on and pissed on and all that type of stuff. It's not the video's fault. It's the soldiers and the military and the commanders, the people that are creating this, that are creating these, psychos, I guess you could call it. Some of our troops are going crazy. It's got to be, who knows, from the medicine they're taking, whatever they're feeding them, the psyche, the way that they train them, whatever the case may be. The issue is there don't need to be people urinating on bodies or people being tortured or U.S. troops doing foul things to innocent people. Okay, so getting rid of videos is not the answer. That is not the root cause of the problem. The root problem is deeper than that. Why are we at the war in the first place? You know, they just don't want no more embarrassment photos to be out. So now they can just keep everything more and more hidden. So more and more people don't know what's going on in war. I say do a video, do a documentary, do it all. Put it all on video, all of it, because it needs to be seen. Maybe people will stop voting for these politicians sending us to war then. Maybe people will stop sending their sons and their kids to go and fight in these wars. Let's see. The current ISAF Commander Major General Charles M. Gregonis emphasized that documentary photos of war casualties and atrocities can undermine the war effort. No, it can expose the war effort. That's what I'm talking, undermine the war effort. Everything is about them, to protect them, undermine our war, undermine our profits, undermine all this. It's always about you guys, never about the innocent civilians, never about the families that had to witness their family members' bodies on the air like this. It's never about that. It's always about the bankers, the politicians, the military-industrial complex, to protect them. While previous 20th century war efforts like the Vietnam debacle lost support at home after critical reports exposed the horrors of war, technology has made the 21st century an entirely different beast. With a slew of high-tech gadgets allowing anyone to be a camera person, the gore of the Afghan war is leaking onto the internet in gigabytes. Let's see here. He explained soldiers should realize that making cool, memorable pictures with dead Taliban fighters is a bad idea and there will be consequences. This isn't rocket science, he noted. You know what else isn't rocket science, you idiot? When you go over there and you bomb people and you go take their resources and you take over their land and you wonder why they're trying to bomb and kill you and fight back with little homemade bombs, and we're supposed to be worried and scared of these people. And that doesn't take rocket science. Anyways, you guys can check this at Russia Today. They don't want no more pictures out. No more photos, no more videos of what's really going on. Only the propaganda. Only the propaganda is allowed to be released. What else? Also at Russia Today, Chicago police want their money for working during the NATO summit. We want to get paid for beating people up. We got to get paid for handcuffing and arresting people and raiding people, regardless of if you condemn or condone the Chicago Police Department's handling of last week's NATO summit protest. There's no denying that the Windy City cops were indeed on the job. Why then, ask the officers, aren't they being properly paid? The Fraternal Order of Police has now filed a grievance against the city's management because Chicago administrators show no sign of confiscating police officers on duty during the demonstration with overtime, despite some cops working a week straight on the clock. On the website for the FOP's Chicago Lodge 7, the group sums up the debacle with an explanation delivered with sheer sarcasm. A post published on their website this Thursday is titled, "More Thanks for a Job Well Done," and its contents revealed that the Windy City Boys in Blue are rather angry. First, the city took the unusual position that officers could not request to be credited with compensatory time for any overtime that they worked during the NATO summit, knowing that this was a clear violation of our contract, unquote, reads their complaint. Quote, now after our mayor, superintendent, and the citizens of Chicago have heaped praise upon Chicago police officers for their excellent work at the NATO summit, the city has taken the position that officers are not entitled to compensation for working a 6th or 7th consecutive day during a single week. FOP President Mike Shields adds that the department contract with the city could not be any more ambiguous. Quote, an officer who is in a pay status for 6 or 7 consecutive days within the pay period Sunday through Saturday will be compensated at the rate of time and one half for work performed on the 6th day and 7th day, reads their clause. Shields adds that they have already filed a class action grievance on behalf of any officer who would be entitled to overtime pay because of their extended hours during the NATO summit. Quote, NATO was not an excuse for the city of Chicago to circumvent the contract, unquote, Shields said this week, reports the Chicago Sun-Times. Quote, it clearly states that the officers working overtime are to be paid in either time or money. It's their choice. The FOB president adds that, quote, this is just another example of the city not honoring the contract, unquote. And this is just the point that we try to make to the police. They don't care about you either. You little media whores that are working for the 1%, they don't care about you either. You little politicians running for office, these 1%ers don't care about you either. And guess what? When the tides turn and they realize that the people done caught on, all you little guys, all you little ones are going to get thrown into the fire. The 1% will let you go. They will let your feet go into the fire. They will let you guys go to jail. They will let you take the fall. You cops, they don't care about you. Media, they don't care about you. You guys are to work for them, and you're sheep just like they look at us. You're no different. When you start realizing that and waking up, then maybe you police officers can turn around and defend us instead of defending the bankers that are here ripping everybody else off and ripping you off. That's what these police officers need to understand. Understand that we're on the same team. You know what brings us together? Our enemy. Our enemy brings us together. And who's our enemy? The mainstream media, the government, military, industrial complex, and not everyone that works for them. Not everyone's a bad person. They just work for a bad group of body. All right, so we'll be back. I'm your host, Paco. You're listening to Occupy the Media.
Hi, I'm Dana, and I started out as a Ron Paul fan just like you.